I'm Jayson Olthoff. I run the CAB, the Coffee and Business group here in Great Falls. Also run the Connection Doctor, and then also the We Are Local publication.
Tell me a little bit more about CAB and what it is, because I'm sure there's a lot of people here that maybe they've never been to CAB.
So CAB, I started it 7 years ago. And one of the things when I was looking at starting something like that was being able to connect with people, which I felt like I was in a silo. I was a self-employed business person here in town, a couple of staff people, but nobody I felt was going through the same thing I was. So I started CAB for that reason is, hey, you know what? If I feel this way, I'm sure other people do too. Since then, CAB has grown into something that has gone way beyond my thought process. Been doing it now 7 years. Started it out more as a networking and getting to know one another, turned it into relationships before transactions. And starting in 2026, I'm moving it even into a farther direction as far as business or people development. Not necessarily business development, but people and how to get people to go to that next level in their business and just kind of step up the game. Got a lot of things that are going to happen over the next year. Just to kind of give you an idea what CAB is about on a basis that I do every week. We network a little bit, because it does still have some of that networking component and bring in guest speakers, or we share some social media tips that they can use right away. And then we do Q&A time, but it's really to build relationships. When I look at CAB, I look at it as your 1 hour weekly plan. You can literally show up for that hour and schedule coffees or appointments for the whole next week before the next CAB starts. So you start building those relationships.
It seems like you just like to team up together and build the community. You tried to do 100 live events. And was it in a month?
In a week.
In a week. Holy smokes. They shut you down. What happened?
Yeah. So I heard from somebody a few years ago that said, hey, if you're afraid or nervous about something, try doing massive speedy action and stuff. And what he was getting at was do something 100 times in a short period of time. And we use the analogy of getting on the phone. So if you feel that phone is heavy and you're a salesperson and you need to make phone calls, but it's just crazy. You don't want to do it, right? So he said, make 100 phone calls in a week. And by the time you pick up the phone that 101st time, it's going to be nothing. So versus if you take those same 100 phone calls and spread it out over a year, that 101st phone call is just as bad as that first. So I thought, well, I don't mind doing lives, but I'm going to try it. I'm just going to see what it looks like. And I said, I'm going to do 100 lives in a week, which is unheard of. I mean, that's just a lot of stuff. And really what I was doing was anytime I was talking really anywhere, I was pulling out my phone and going live on it. Hey, this is Jayson doing this, and it might only be a minute long. But I did that. And after 57, Facebook shut me down. They thought I was spamming.
That's still a pretty good number, 57.
So the interesting thing is they didn't shut me down completely. They just shut me down. I couldn't do any more lives for 30 days.
Okay.
And stuff. But I could still post and do things. But it wouldn't even give me the option to click on live.
How often do you go live now?
Now, probably 3 or 4 times a month.
Okay.
Not much. I will be stepping that up with the things that I'm doing over the next year with CAB and your Connection Doctor. Doing more live events. Because if I'm going to be teaching it, I want to be doing it.
Right.
Stuff. So I will be stepping that up.
I do teach a lot of companies and businesses how to implement video within their own business. And one of the biggest hurdles for them is definitely just getting on camera. And live, to me, gets it out of the way because you just push the one button and you can always make edits and shut it down, make it so it's not public later on, but it really gets you out of there. If for yourself, having to do a bunch of lives would be harder for me because you're constantly remembering, oh yeah, I got to do my live, where I just have it set up in my office, like talking camera live instead of interacting. One of the values that I think that you brought to a lot of businesses here downtown Great Falls is just going in to the businesses themselves, introducing yourself, kind of giving them a heads up warning of what you're doing.
You're doing a live with them.
Right. Or maybe not even giving them a warning, but going in and letting people know what is downtown, because parking has always been an issue, and so I do know that keeps some people out of there, and whatever their hang up is, parking's not everybody's issue.
So it's the main one at the forefront right now.
Yeah, right. But even putting that aside, not everybody knows what downtown Great Falls currently has, and even what it had in the past. And there's so much history down here. You walking into some of these buildings, even some of them that have been owned by the same family for generations, and getting to know what is it that they offer, who they are, and why they're in business, I think is really important. You give them that spotlight, that podium to stand on and share. I don't think any of them would have done it without that.
No, and I've caught people off guard. I've walked into businesses and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go live here. Do you care if you're on camera?" And some will shy away, some will put somebody else in front. But I figured it's a great way. If I ask people ahead of time, say, "Hey, what if I come into your business? Would you care if I did a video or go live with you?" Probably get a lot of no's, right?
Right.
But if I'm there in person and I'm ready to do it, they don't really have a chance to think about it. And I love raw. I don't like a lot of the polished things out there. I mean, they're all great. Don't get me wrong on it, but the raw thing is what people pay attention to. I don't have people picking, "Oh, Jayson said too many times." They don't pick that up. They just really look at, "Hey, you know what? That is interesting. He walked into a business, talked to them, and now it's on Facebook. It's on the What's Happening Great Falls Facebook group. It's wherever that marketing never would have happened if I didn't walk in."
Yeah, and like any other business out there, once you show what you can do, how you can connect people to the public, to the community, then they're more apt to want to work with you because you've already done them this service and they've seen this value. So I think that can obviously, but that's not what you started CAB for. You started CAB for connect with each other and some like-minded people.
Correct. Yeah. In the beginning, I started CAB for myself. Like I said, I was a silo out there, or I thought I was. So it was really more therapeutic for me to get out and meet people. I was an insurance agent here for years, and I still felt like I didn't know our community and stuff. And when I started CAB, and it was October of 18, so before COVID and anything, when I started it was I walked around downtown and I handed out flyers. I said, "Hey, we want to join me for coffee." And I did this on a Tuesday, and Wednesday morning I had that coffee and I had 3 people show up. I said, "Do you want to do this again?" And I had 6, then I had 10, then I had 20. And at the height of COVID, or before COVID hit, we were running 50, 60 people on a weekly basis based off of that idea of I'm by myself. I want to connect with other people. And it was really, how do I connect with the downtown people? But I have people that come in. I mean, I've had people from Wolf Creek come to CAB. I've had people from Fairfield, White Sulphur Springs. I've had people from all over our county and stuff that come in specifically for CAB.
When I brought my business into the community and wanted to just kind of get to know more of the businesses that I've been seeing, different merchants, or I was referred to reach out to, we hit it off right away because I have such a deep background in video marketing and social media marketing. So beyond just the payment platform that I had, we were able to connect in different ways.
Like I said, the unlikely people becoming friends and colleagues and cohorts and stuff like that.
And I've also been able to learn some of the values that I have that just, to me, everybody knows that. And they don't. And I think being able to recognize it in other people as well, as the different individuals that I have been able to lean on or visit with during CAB. And I mean, there's some interesting people and their life experience, what they're doing now. And to them, it's just second nature. But they're able to teach us, so many of us, whether it be how to build a relationship, or maybe it's techniques, having these conversations on a one-on-one, sales techniques. But you offer that platform there within CAB as well to share their knowledge.
people said, Jayson, knowing a lot of things, which I don't claim to know a lot of things, but I learn every day. And I think when I'm in CAB, even though I'm running the platform, I'm running the event, I'm learning every day. I'm learning from you, I'm learning from all the other businesses there, because they might do something different that I've never thought of. And it's just a way to collaborate. And I say this all the time at CAB too, is we're not competitors. So if we have, 5 or 6 insurance agents and realtors in there, we're not competing against each other. We're collaborating with each other. And I feel that I can learn from other people, whether it's the video side, whether it's a sales technique. And if I can bring all that together, making sure that everybody hears, kind of what's going on with a different business, and say, hey, you know what? I think I can use that. And then they talk later on and they say, hey, thank you for that tip. And that's where that relationship goes to that next level of just surface. And when you're building the relationships, transactions will come. The transactions don't matter. And I think when you get to that point, whether we do business on a business level, it doesn't really matter that it's solid. And I think that's key as I continue to build out this platform, is to make sure that the relationship is first and foremost. One thing that I've learned over the years in my insurance world is somebody comes to me on a transaction, I have a couple dollars less or whatever, they're going to leave me on that same type of a transaction unless I build that relationship. So my goal is to build a relationship first. Not have the transaction and work on it, build it first, and see out of that.
So let's talk We Are Local. What's the plan for We Are Local? You started that in, it was March of 2023.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. Like, holy cow.
I'll let you tell a little bit of the history before that, but a lot of it came during the discussion in CAB. And I remember Kim actually was one of them that brought it up. There was 3, but she specifically said something. I laugh because I can easily do that. And then with you and the partnerships that you've already had, the relationships you've already built, it was just a very quick and easy transition for us. But you have a backstory to your local, which used to be Social Bites, before that even.
Yeah, so back in the late 90s, I owned the Tidbits franchise here in Great Falls, which is just our tagline was everything you never knew that you never needed to know. I still remember it after all these years, but that's what it was. It wasn't news. It was just fun history, some tips and things that we might not have known and really probably never cared if we knew. But it was interesting to have it, right? And stuff. So I sold that franchise back in 2000 or 2001. And it just kind of disappeared. I don't know what happened to it, but anyways, it's not here now. And so back in February of 23, I asked the question at CAB. I said, "Is print dead?" Because we were having a discussion somewhere, and that's what Kim brought up about. Well, it all depends, how you use it and things like that. Depending on what you're trying to get across that message. And there were a lot of people active on it and stuff. And I asked the question, I said, anybody here remember Tidbits? Oh yeah, I loved reading it as a kid and all this other stuff. So right away, I mean, this is just what I thought of at that point. I said, I'm going to do a mock-up. I'm going to find me a printer and I'm going to do a mock-up. So contacted some printers. Pricing was out of this world. I said, there's no way I can afford this. And then Falls Print Works. Hit on them, and you and I both were like, hey, you know what? Is this something that's viable? They actually did a mock-up, not charged me anything. They did 100 copies of our first Social Bites, is what we called it at the time. And I just included everybody that was at CAB at that point and put them in there. And I brought it to CAB the next week and I said, would you guys get behind this? And they all said yes.
Yeah, it was fun.
And it was
just
crazy.
Kind of figuring out our layout, what all we would have in there. I mean, it was a whirlwind of, we're going to make this happen. We're going to make it happen right away. I have to say that Falls Printworks, we worked with from day one.
Day one.
They have been phenomenal. They're so easy to work with. I get it over to them. I don't have to write out all this big description. I get them what they need, and simple. It's so simple, and the cost is right on.
Yeah.
They take good care of us. And very, very quick turnaround.
Yeah. And the turnaround is great. One thing that I love working with local businesses, Linda and stuff. Linda owns the False Print Works, is easy to work with. I don't have corporate stuff that I deal with. And that's why I love the We Are Local. And we take care of the local people. And one thing I really love about Linda is every week I go in there, okay, what color do we want? What color do we want? Well, we started out doing it twice a month, and now we do it weekly. So we've grown into that. But now we pick up 4 colors that we want, because we kind of tried a lot of different ones. Okay, how does a print look on it and things like that. So now we're already on a schedule. And I'll probably even put something out this year is saying, hey, if it's green, it's the first week. If it's blue, it's the second week. So people will know.
Right.
But the reason I did the different colors anyways in the beginning was so people knew if they've read one or not and stuff. So it really makes it nice. And one thing that with the We Are Local that to me is great is there's no news in it. It's just good information. It talks about our cab things that we do. There might be a feature story. There's some games and stuff that are in there. So a lot of fun things like that. But the beauty of it is it doesn't expire. You can pick up one 3 months later. That right now there are no coupons in it. It doesn't mean that there won't be coupons in the future or discounts and things like that. But right now you can pick it up, and if you haven't read the stories or whatever, it's not like history that that 4 weeks ago. That's old news. Right. It's just good stuff. And same with the advertisers in there. They're getting exposure all the time.
There's always a recipe in there that we try to kind of hit along with the season and what's going on in life, so that the recipe coincides with it. But we also have, speaking of not necessarily coupons, but Brett Harris Agency Insurance Agency has sponsored the little veteran corner there. For those companies that offer a discount.
With Brett Harris, with the Harris Insurance Agency, he's supported us from day one. We were around when he first bought the agency and came in, and we were a huge part, I think, of building that friendship with Brett and his team. And then when I was looking for sponsors, hey, I want to do something for veterans and first responders. What businesses out there do discounts? I had a flood of people send me information. We put it into a thing right away. I want to sponsor. And that's the beauty of it. So we're always looking for sponsors. Different articles and stuff that we put in there. If we can get other businesses to kind of step up and sponsor some of that aren't necessarily a paid spot, but it helps with the printing and stuff like that.
What's your plan for We Are Local moving forward then? Is it going to...
Holy cow!
What's it turning into?
So it's going to be like We Are Local on steroids. I have a lot of things in the works. I was just finalizing some stuff for the last couple of days, but my goal is to turn it into larger than we're at. I really want to double the size here in the next couple months, and I think we have the ability to do it. I am adding another section which you and I haven't even talked about. I haven't even shared it with you.
Yes.
It's all brand new stuff. So when we're done with this, we'll talk about that, of what I'm looking at doing that I think will be a huge success that continues on with the We Are Local and what that looks like. Not only is We Are Local changing, but also CAB is changing. Like I said, the focus on that is people development this year. There's going to be, I'll introduce it now and tell more about it later, but called the CAB Growth Hub. And it's going to be powerful. It's going to be something that Great Falls hasn't seen yet, and we're going to bring it. And my goal is depending on how everything works here, is to take it. I think I have a model that I think will continue to grow, and it's not another networking group. It's something totally different. Something that I think will bring value to communities.
Awesome. Now I'm very, very curious what the next step is and what I will be doing next. CAB itself is going into a new direction, more structured, more, kind of a heads up. But We Are Local specifically has its own direction that it's going. We have our online version that we've had since, that wasn't from day one, I don't think, but we've had it for
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close from day one. We had the online.
Yeah, so our online version is full color, and the full color transfers to black and white on a colored sheet for the print.
And that's why we narrowed it down to the four colors that we did, so it's easier to see.
We always go to another level when it comes to taking care of the businesses that we're partnering with. As far as going out to the public and the different communities, events, you're always there, it seems like, at pretty much everything. You're in a different place in your life with mine. Mine is basically following my children. Right.
Kids at home.
But you are in every event here within the community, it seems like, even if it's just for a moment, and you're sharing that with the public, oftentimes on live, oftentimes pre-recorded, but you're giving the value to all of these local. I'm looking out the window here at the Brett Harris Agency and out onto Central, and all these different businesses you've gone into, most all of them, and helped supported them in one way or the other. What is that additional support for We Are Local going to be looking like this year?
We haven't released this yet, but we are going on our online version. We're going to add some pages to that, which will really highlight the local businesses, which will bring more value. They want to partner with us in the future on the print side and stuff. It's just going to be an extra layer of recognition. Tell a little bit of their story, because right now the way We Are Local is set up, it's really just the business cards that are in there. So it doesn't really go into all the products and things like that. You can probably guess, by the name of the business maybe, but it doesn't go into that, where when we get these stories up and we get these other pages added, we're going to be able to tell the story of these businesses a little bit better, a lot better than just a business card size. And it's just more value that we can continue to.
But we also have the online distribution. So not only will they have the online version of that week's We Are Local publication, but they'll also have more of a directory style.
Correct.
That's part of it. That's the deep dive that you're saying into the company.
A lot of times, and I'll get this numerous times a week, people call me up and text me and say, Jayson, who do you know that does this? Who do you know that does that? So it's cool having this directory on the online, because I can literally send them, go there. We're going to have this to where they can find these businesses if they're part of the We Are Local. Which my goal is this year is to hit our city with all of our small businesses and stuff, and get them to buy into what we're trying to do here. And I think they'll all rise when we get that done.
That'll be really nice, because then you can have those search features that mini directories out there that are, that are printed on an annual basis or even quarterly basis. They don't have the search function that you'll be able to offer within the We Are Local. Plus, you can kind of dive deeper into the services and the people that are part of that business and get to know, like, the connection doctor itself. You'll have a good explanation of who you serve and how you can help them, even having a testimonial. Maybe fewer phone calls for you.
Maybe, but you know what? I don't mind the calls, but it will be nice if that happens. I can actually send them to the directory, instead of saying, hey, let me find the name for you or whatever. I can actually send them to the directory. Hey, go here.
Yeah, and then instead of having to be under just one listing with, like I said, a lot of directories, you'll be able to list it under several services.
The connection doctor. So that kind of came out of CAB, the coffee and business side of things, taking it to that next level for coaching and mentoring and things like that. I think in 2026, we're going to see a lot more of the connection doctor out there, more involved in the community, probably pull back a little bit more on my personal Facebook stuff, and really concentrate more on hitting businesses and stuff with the connection doctor, building that platform, because I think there's some value in that. And I don't know what it's going to look like in the end, membership based, but what I do know is that I'm constantly putting together stuff and building an online platform for it. So when I am ready to roll that out, it's going to be powerful, I think. And not just our community, but literally that type of platform can be national, just like what you're doing.
What I'm doing is more of an attract and amplify with video marketing. It is not just video marketing, but video marketing has such a reach, and people know within their business that they need to start implementing a lot of that. They just don't know how. My angle is more just recognizing that you probably have the right people already working for you that can implement that. Maybe you need to invest a little bit of time and energy into them, or they need to invest within their own education of it. But it's not, it's not a 9-month or a 2-year course. It is really just taking action, implementing a few steps here and there to grow, and then coming together and learning new techniques that will help market. And the thing is your current employees, the reason I press look in-house first is because they already have that sense of loyalty and that passion for the company. Why don't you put them in front of the camera and let them tell the story? Why is that your company so important to them? What have you done? And I've been able to listen to story after story from not necessarily the business owners who are already passionate about their business, because they do a fantastic job. And if you can market your own business, you're going to have a whole lot better reach, because that's what, again, the passion is. But if you've got people within your business who admire not only you, but what you do, let them speak up on behalf of it. That's a testimonial in and of itself. I feel that you can do that in-house a lot simpler than you realize. The Connection Doctor has kind of opened people's eyes to, through CAB and through your live events and stuff like that, what's out there.
Sometimes outside eyes are better. A lot of times when we're in business, we focus and we see this, and why aren't the connected? Why isn't my business growing like this? And that's where the Connected Doctor will come in back and say, hey, let me evaluate what's going on, give you some concrete steps forward, and then just kind of monitor it, making sure we're going in the right direction. One thing that I've always said is you gotta monitor and you gotta track things. You don't do it for a year and then say, okay, now let's see where we're at. You do it every week, every day, whatever it takes, kind of see, hey, am I getting closer to where I want to be? This is my goal, and I'm getting closer. And I always look at like an airplane. So if an airplane takes off, a pilot takes off, from an airstrip in California, and he wants to go to DC, he's not waiting till he gets almost to DC to see the proportion. He's always making those tiny adjustments. Otherwise, he could be ending up down in Florida or up in New York, or different places like that, because he didn't make the corrections along the way. And that's how I look at our businesses. We need to make those corrections on a daily or weekly or monthly basis, whether it's your goals that you set for the year. Don't wait till December 15th to say, hey, I wonder where I'm at. And if you do that, I think you'll create the habit to do it. And that's my goal, is how to create the habit. And I'll just be more on the back end. Hey, I'm here for some advice, things like that. Let's get you there first. And a lot of businesses struggle with that because they have 20,000 people trying to get their attention or needing something, and you're trying to grow a business and make money, take care of your family. So you forget about all these other things, but it's those other things that if you implement them, the other noise can go away.
Yeah, you're so busy working inside of your business that you're not taking the time to be able to look at the business from a distance and see where you are and where you're going and how you can make those improvements. You got to step out, and that's why it's nice.
Before we wrap up, I want to pull this all together. What you heard today really comes back to one simple idea. When people understand who you are, what you do, and why you care, everything else gets easier. Conversations feel natural. Relationships grow. And business follows without being forced. That's why clarity matters so much. Whether it's a 90-second introduction, a conversation at Coffee and Business, or walking into a local business and turning on a camera, it all starts with being clear and being real. Coffee and Business exists to give people a place to practice that. We Are Local exists to share the stories with the community. Different formats, same purpose. Connection first. If there's one takeaway from this episode, it's this. Don't overthink it. Show up, be clear, and let relationships do what they're meant to do. We'd like to take a moment to thank the local businesses who help make this podcast possible. The Brett Harris Insurance Agency, The Connection Doctor, and Treasure State Payments. These are the businesses that believe in supporting local people, local conversations, and a stronger community. And we're grateful for their support.
Also sponsoring today's Treasure State Payments. Treasure State Payments is partnered with deposits for all of your POS and payment processing needs. If you're interested, more information on that, the link will be below.
This podcast is sponsored by the Brett Harris Insurance Agency in Great Falls. They are part of the community. They jump in, they help out where need needs to be, and just a great partner to have in any type of a business. So if you're looking for any types of insurance, whether it's auto, home, life, commercial, health, you name it, give Brett's office a call. Jayson, talk to myself, talk to anybody in his office or whatever, and they get you in the right direction.
Brett Harris Insurance Agency was named 2025 Best Business in Great Falls
Yes.
here recently as well.